Start from anywhere.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember what we were talking about.
It literally doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, wait, why I got into... Wait, no, we were talking about how you're an empath, and I'm an empath, but have a harder shell, I think. Right? Like, you and other people that I know, like, absorb a lot more than I do. Like I understand it and it hurts, but you feel it. Like, when people around you, like, you really, truly take it in.
But not like everyone. It's, like, more when I'm, like, watching a movie, or if it's you, or if it's my mom, then I really feel it. But it's not everyone. I could definitely, I'm not, like, sitting there crying as someone's telling me about, like, their problems. I can handle that. But I couldn't do your job.
You feel it.
I couldn't do your job, and that's, like, for sure. I could not do your job.
I mean, to be fair, I don't even think, like...
That you can do your job.
Like, I definitely, the burnout, like, rate is high. I think that it's really hard not to absorb it. I've gone a lot better. Actually, a nurse the other day told me, she literally turned to me and was like, your patient boundaries have gotten, like, a lot better than when you started, and I felt really good.
Is it weird at first to, like, figure out what those boundaries are?
Absolutely. It makes no sense, especially having been a patient myself.
Right.
Because I, like, came in there, there's a line, right? There's patient, staff, right? Here's, like, the divider. And when I came into the job, I had a badge, but I was a patient. I felt like a patient. I talked to the patients like I was a patient.
Because you've had been a patient before. Literally in the same place.
In the same place.
Yep, that's fun.
Yes. And, like, as somebody... I think that, like, this job is really interesting. It's made me really rethink how, like, I know I want to work in psych. I know I want to do this. This is what makes sense to me. But I have to rethink the way I'm going to do it. Because, like, I had, like, after being hospitalized so many times and, like, being a patient, like, being on the patient side of that interaction, right? There's patient and therapist, whatever, staff. And I was a patient. I've been a patient for my whole life. And... like, going through the system and, like, whatever messed up things happened, I had this, like, revenge plot. I was like, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be the kind of staff I wanted when I was a patient. And so I started the job, and I was the kind of staff that I wanted as a patient. Mm-hmm. Which was there all the time, validating all the time, even when it wasn't good for the patient. And, like, listening and, like, being there immediately and, like, being always on their side. And,
but,
like,
you were never like that. When you first started, you were telling me how you were like, maybe it wasn't necessarily that you were telling me maybe you were doing that, and you were just saying, like you were finding it difficult to be there.
It was
but
really
difficult. But I think I remember, maybe I'm misremembering then.
Wait, why? Like, what were you going to say?
I thought that you had maybe known that from the beginning that you couldn't, like, fulfill that fantasy for yourself.
So, kind of. Like, I knew that it was going to be different. I did have that logically. Like, I probably said that to you as, like, me and my therapist were talking about this, like, 2 days ago. The intellectualizer, like, the pathologizing of emotions. How I don't feel my emotions, I just... That's why I always, like, want to have a solution. People are asking me for advice. That's why
I'm always... You don't feel your emotions?
I feel them, but, like, not... I deal with them. It's a coping mechanism, right? To deal, like, think about it. Like, in times when, like, we've talked and you've been telling me things, my first instinct is to first psychoanalyze you and then give you advice and a solution.
I don't mind the psychoanalyzing. It's very interesting.
And I appreciate that. But it's also not, like... That's, like, I do it to myself. Yeah. Instead of being, like...
But isn't that good? I feel like that's good. I wish
it's not good because I never truly deal with my issues. Like, I'm always just... I pathologize it in my head.
How is that not dealing with it, though? You're, like, laying it out step by step what it is, breaking it down into smaller parts.
Then I'm, like, I'm in completely, like, the logical brain where it's easy to break them apart, but I don't feel them. And I don't, like... I think that helps me compartmentalize and put it away.
Okay.
But I think that that's a good skill to have, and I need it, and a lot of people need it. But I think it also needs to be balanced with...
So how can you, like, force yourself to feel?
I don't know if it's forcing. I'm gonna have to work on it. I'm gonna have to, like, literally, like, focus on, like, when I notice myself doing that, like, excusing something... like, I have to I have to notice and, like, pull it back and examine, be like, okay, why am I doing that? Is this making me uncomfortable that I need to do this to make it feel better? Can I sit with it and just deal? Because I think sitting with your emotions is a skill I don't have, but is super important, and, like, something I tell my patients to do all the time. Like, sit with it. Like, I don't know.
I don't get how that would make it better, because maybe it's because I'm the opposite and I sit with it for too long and I'm like, why am I sitting in this still?
Well, I think that, like, sitting, because, okay, here's, like, an example, right? When you're, it's kind of a weird one, but, like, say, like, when I was, like, really depressed and I wouldn't get out of bed because I didn't want to tolerate the distress of getting out of bed. The distress of being in the world was so severe that I was like, I'm going to avoid. But that ruined me. Like, that was a loss of, like, functionality. Like, and I wasn't a person, and I wasn't myself. Now, right, what's different between when I was 16 and couldn't get out of my bed for the entire day, or now when I, like, do all my things? The difference is that, like, I've learned ways, like, in coping skills that are healthy to deal with the world around me and, like, to deal with my day. I don't need to hide in my bed all day because I know how to deal with it and I know how to tolerate, like, the distressful situations.
That would scare me a lot when we were in undergrad together, and you would be like, the depression never goes away. And, like, still, even when you say that, I'm like, oh,
I know, I'm
it
sorry.
never goes away. That's, like, wild. And it's true. You're always waiting for it to pop back up. And I guess it's just always there.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. That really scares me and makes me upset. And
it's really scary.
And it's weird because it's like that for most people, but there are some people who are not depressed and have never been depressed.
Yes.
Like, what is that like? And
I couldn't tell you, Paulina.
Who are those people? Do they have, like, less... Do they know less? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because I always felt like it's so... Some people get depressed just so that they can feel like they're more... I guess you wouldn't say that they get depressed, but they like, put on this show as if, like, their pain makes them somehow more deep and, like...
Oh, yeah.
And
a lot of people do that.
To a certain point, it does make you a little more deep, but also I wouldn't say that it's something you can't learn from just being, like, a thoughtful and healthy person.
Yeah. I don't know what it's like to be one of those people who's never been depressed in their life. I don't understand it. I do think that, like, I don't know, I think everybody has something.
Is that its own kind of fucked upness though?
What?
Somebody who doesn't have a little bit of depression. Is that weird? That's very, like, those people that are too happy, but they're genuinely too happy.
I don't think it's weird because, honestly, okay, so maybe I do have a pretty dark sense of, not dark, but, like, I guess I don't, you know, I said there are people.
Yeah,
I don't think there are people, actually. Like, I think the way I think about people, maybe this is to make myself feel better about my own mental health issues, but, like, I look at other people and I assume, even the happy-go-lucky ones, I assume that there's something.
Well, there is something, but that doesn't mean that
It doesn't mean it's depression.
It doesn't mean that,
anxiety, it could be something else. It could be loss of a family member. It could be severe grief. It could be alcohol, like a substance use disorder. Like, I think everyone has an experience with mental health. But I think that depending on how you grew up and, like, where you are, and also just, it depends on, like, the way that it, like, sometimes people can be depressed, but it's not, because, like, right, to have an illness has to meet, like, the criteria.
But there are people who have just nothing. Like, they're just, like, their life is good, and they're happy, and they're good. So. Michelle, they're just dumb.
Paulina.
Michelle, I know them from, like, my major, I know them. Like, I know. They are just...
I don't believe that. Maybe they just don't know, they haven't truly, like...
dealt with their shit.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why
people
they're dumb.
Compartmentalize things and repression is insane. Repression is a very, like, crazy thing that happens. And, like I was never able to do that. I don't think you were ever able to do that. Mm-hmm. I think there's some people who, like, can't like, we just think about it too much. Like, we obsess over it, like, our feelings and all that kind of stuff. We can't push those things away. But there are some people.
But some people aren't depressed, Michelle.
Yeah. But depression's not the
yeah, I
only
guess,
thing.
I know. They still have anxiety and all that shit.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, trust me, it's
That's
crazy
just
to
wild.
me, too.
I just can't believe that.
It's wild to me, too.
Not depressed. Like, Noah is not depressed. He doesn't have that, like, at every moment of the day. Not that it's, like, every moment of the day I'm thinking about it, but, like, especially when it flares up.
No, but to deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have to worry about it. I mean,
he has, like, other shit. He's not, like, the people that I was thinking of. Although I guess you're right. You're more right about them. That they probably still have something going on
underneath it.
But I genuinely think that some people are just dumb and they live in this, like, la-di-da world.
They might be. I, like, have literally no idea. And I think it's really hard for me to step outside of the experience of having that experience.
Yeah.
Like, because it's something that has affected my life to such a severe, like, it is I, every day for the rest of my life, will have to consciously work on my mental health and keep it good every day of my life. I will never be able to just be like, haha, I'm cured.
That makes me sad. That's why my therapist's like, all right, I think we're good. You just call me when you need me. I'm like, oh, great. I'm cured. I'm better. I'm doing well. Yeah,
a lot of people want to take the magic pill and, like, the magic treatment and just be like, cool, no therapy needed, no, like,
it's mostly older people that are like that.
No, younger people do it too.
Okay, I just don't know then.
No, I mean, that's, like, it's just, like, a lot of patients come in, they're like, I'm not looking to do anything, I just want to get my meds, and I'm like, okay, I hope that works out for you. I doubt it, but, like, I hope it does, like, I really do. But, like, do you remember the moment, or have you not, like, realized it for yourself, but it's only, like, you've heard it from me and that makes you sad, like, when it, like, I'm thinking of the moment I realized that it wasn't just a thing I could get cured from. Do you have a moment like that?
Yeah, like, when you would talk about it for yourself, and I remember, like, directly asking you, I was like, Ken, are you cured? Because you were good, and you were telling me about, like, all the shit, like, how you were in these hospitals, like, where you were in your life, and I was like, damn, like, she had it worse than me, and look at her now, like, we're at BU, like, she seems like she's consoling me, and you were just like, yeah, but I still have it, and I was like, what? I was like, what?
Yeah.
That made me really sad.
It's a hard one.
I know. I was like, no, Michelle, you don't have it. You're good. And, like, I was like, well, that just means you're not cured yet. I'm gonna be cured. Yeah, right? Like, I don't have to deal with this my whole life. No, I was 18, and I, like, okay, so I was, like, super depressed all throughout high school, like, really bad, like, just badness, as you know, badness. I graduated high school, and, like, for the first time, I think the stressor of school went away. And that felt a lot better. But, like, that summer of 18, when I just graduated high school, I was depressed. The depression that had, like, been there for years. Like, to the point, like, of, like, suicidality and self-harm and so many awful things had lifted. Like, and this summer, and I was like, whoop, that's it. I'm 18. I'm cured. Like, fuck that shit. Like, I don't have to ever think about that again. That was just, like, a teenager problem. That was just because I was a stupid teenager and I had all these hormones, and I don't actually have to think about any of that. And I went the whole summer having, a great summer. One of the best summers I've ever had. Yep.
Just chilling. I met these new friends. I was a counselor at camp. Like,
everything was cool.
Yeah, I was killing it.
I know.
Yeah, and then I got to college in, like, September. And I literally...
What year was this? 2015?
Yeah. No, 2014, because I graduated 2014.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got into SPU the first time in 2014. And I literally just, like...
That's only 1 year. Oh, no, that's 2 years.
It's 2 years, yeah. Because what happened was I started the semester, and I didn't actually work on any of the things that I needed to work on. I immediately got depressed again. I got super isolative. I couldn't talk to anyone. I wasn't doing anything. And I, like, had become super attached to one specific friend and, like, her friends. And I was only with those people. But I was getting progressively sicker and sicker. And I just kept not accepting it because I was like, no. I'm better now. Like, I don't know. That's not my problem. And then obviously I wasn't better, and then I got hospitalized again. And I was 18, nice. Right? And nice. I was in the ER, and I remember asking them to send me to the unit that they always sent me, which was the adolescent one. But they were like, you're 18, you're going to the adult ward, baby. And I was like, what? The adult ward? No. I need to be with the teenagers because this is a teenager problem. And they were like, nope, sorry. Send me to the adult ward, Jesus. Which I work at now. Yeah. That sent me there. I was the youngest patient in the whole unit. And everyone was older than me. And there were people who were like in their 20s, which made more sense to my brain. There were people whose kids would visit them. And people whose grandparents, they were grandparents. My mind was blown. I was so hopeless and upset. And I remember looking at those people and being like, oh my god, is this not only a teenager thing? Am I going to do this for the rest of my life? And I'm going to be like 60, like that lady over there, hospitalized. Like, fuck, like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I don't want to actually think about it or work on it. Like, I just want to, like, fucking cure myself. And then I realized at that moment that wasn't possible, and that really scared me. That scared the shit out of me. I freaked. Yep. And then I hid in, like, a closet somewhere for, like, a couple days or something. Because I'm a hider. But that, like...
I also worry that during fight or flight, I'm probably a flight. I don't know that I'm a fight, necessarily.
I'm a freeze.
Yeah.
I'm a freeze.
Yeah.
That's my first instinct.
I hear that freeze is the first, like, level of fear. Then, like, as your, like, adrenaline continues more and more, you go into flight, and then you fight. Like, at the very, like, peak of your adrenaline.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like my freeze might be...
prolonged.
Okay, you know why? It's because, like, I don't know if I ever told you the story. My dad was teaching. I hate driving. My dad was teaching me how to drive, and we're like driving at noon somewhere on the road. I'm doing pretty good, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, take a right here," and I didn't realize we were going on Route 9. Yep. And we're going on Route 9, and I'm like, no. And then I look around and like there's cars, and my dad's like, "All right, now just merge," and I was like, "The merge what?" And like I literally got so scared, and I like got scared because I thought the car was gonna hit us, so I just stopped. On the road. Yeah. I hit the brake. Yep. And sitting on the road, my dad's like right there being like, what are you doing? You can't stop on Route 9. Like, just drive. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're being so stupid right now. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I can do this. I think we need to turn back. And my dad's like, you can't. You're on Route 9. Can you please drive? And cars are like honking everywhere.
Oh my god, Michelle.
And I almost had a panic attack. I was sitting there literally and I couldn't move. My dad kept telling me to move. I knew I was supposed to drive. Cars kept honking at me and I literally was sitting there and I was like,
that is a panic attack.
I can't, yeah, I had like a weird, like, frozen, I don't even remember what happened afterwards because I blocked it out.
Your dad probably switched with you, did he?
I don't even know. Yeah. I don't even remember. But that's why I can't handle, like, merges. Like, that's my worst fear, like, intersections and merges. I feel like...
You never learned it, though. You never, like, went again, did you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I did when I had to do it myself, like, when I got my license and everything. Like, we did it again. But I think that caused a lot of anxiety. And now, like, whenever I have to do it, I notice in myself
so you have to live in the city, basically.
Yeah.
Always.
Because, like, I notice in myself playing, like, I swear to God, like, whenever I do drive, when something, like, happens and I get a little scared, I feel that my instinct is to just slam on the brakes and just stop.
That's like, a pretty good instinct most of the time.
No, but not on the highway, which is where most of my fear comes in.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine if I just broke on the highway?
I've seen this before.
Oh, wow.
Noah and I were
Other
driving.
people like me.
No, it was a policeman. Noah and I were driving to his parents' house. Okay. And, like, he's driving my car, and I'm just, like, sitting there, and he's, like, getting closer and closer to, like, this cop car, and we figure it's a cop car, and he's probably pulled off to the side, like, off the road. And then we're like, oh, wait, he's, like, right there. And then we started, like, getting really close to him, and he's, like, not moving. And it was, like, you would think that you would notice that beforehand, but it just happens so fast.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've always been impressed with people who just drive. Like, you just drive.
Michelle, I'm the only person you know that has a car.
Rodney has a car.
Oh, Rodney has
a car. He just drives. But, like, everyone else is always like, I love driving. Driving is my favorite thing in the fucking world. It's so calming. And I'm like, fuck you. It's, like, the main source of anxiety for me. Like, when I have to drive, I feel like Like, I can't relax. I'm literally sitting there, like holding and, like, the whites of my knuckles are showing.
You don't see it, but same. Like, driving, every time I get in the car, I'm like, this is... Like,
that's so
I could die.
And you've gotten into car crashes before, so I feel... Or
no,
like
I've gotten to accidents.
Like, accidents, sorry. But, like, that, like, I cannot believe that you just drive. And I don't notice that, by the way. Like, that's not noticeable.
It's not, like, crazy, but I definitely am aware of it.
Yeah, but you're so chill when you're driving. Like, I definitely don't. Which is pretty rare for me, because I feel like I am pretty observant of people's,
I used
like,
to
little things.
rip bong and drive. Like, remember? I mean, not bong. Fuck, that would be insane. I would rip the bowl.
Yeah,
like, remember
still.
when we were driving back from you know where?
No. No idea what you're talking about. We've driven back from so many places. Jet lag?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. You see, you knew where. We were driving back from jet lag, and like it was me, you, and Birdman, and we were smoking the bowl, and I just remember like that was the first time I smoked the bowl in my car. And then, like, when you guys were gone one day, I was by myself. I was like, I wonder if I can, like, smoke. Because you guys were holding it for me as I was driving and, like, lighting it and helping me. And then you guys were gone one day, and I was like, I wonder if I can just, like, smoke this by myself as I'm driving. And I, like, figured it out. And then I just did it for a bit. But then I guess I realized at some point that, like, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Very obvious. Very most obvious form of smoke.
Speaking of, do you want?
Yeah, why not?
Wait, I want to hear more of these questions that you wrote.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like you told me that you had this list, and I'm excited to hear, like, give me a weird one.
Okay.
I'm so ready.
All right, a weird one. Why do people hate country music? Do you hate country music?
I hate country music.
I don't mind it.
Okay.
Here's a cool notebook, by the way.
Thank you. It's like supposed to be like
it looks
tree
like
bark.
a tree. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. And the leaves, the fucking paper's perforated, so you can like rip it out if you need to. It's really nice.
Yeah, but it is nice.
Why do people hate country music? Okay, here's why I hate country music. It's the same shit in every song. It's always, if it's a dude singing, it's always like his truck or his girl or like his guns or like I don't even fucking know. But
you forgot the most important one.
Which one?
Beer.
Yes, beer, his truck, his girls, his like whatever. Like I feel like it's always the same shit. It's always the same. And if it's a girl singing, it's like the same thing.
But
like,
who doesn't love that? That's like the most. It's so pure, and sometimes
I think it's too pure. I think it like bothers me because it always felt so here like I hate it because like it's so like it's just always the same shit. And it's always something like I don't know. And I think that bothered me. Like, but I hate affirmations. Do you know what I mean? Like those like little like you can do anything if you put your mind to it.
But
like,
that's not what they're saying.
I know, but it's too happy. It's like too.
But it's not even
ideal.
Happy. It's not, dude. They're literally just like, I'm here on the mud trail, and I've got my like truck and my like dog, and we're sitting here, and the sky is blue, and the sun is shining, and the water smells good, and
it just bothers me.
There's like this song called Barefoot Blue Jeans Night, and it's just like I remember singing it at camp by the campfire, not at our camp, at my lesbian horseback riding camp.
Ooh.
All girls horseback riding camp, technically, not lesbians only. There were straight people there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at lesbian horse camp, we would sing that song.
Okay.
And it was very appropriate because we were all wearing jeans. Sometimes we were barefoot. We're like out there shoveling horse poop. It's wonderful. And it just made sense. I mean, we didn't have beers. I was like 11, but
I don't know. Okay, the only country song that I can say without a doubt, actually there's two, but the main one that I can say that I have always loved is Before He Cheats.
Yeah.
That's that. Okay, here. Okay, when country comes, you know that area where it's like in between country and rock.
Like
it's like
Beyonce
it's country.
Yeah, we were listening to.
Yeah, but it's like country, but like has more of like guitar, like a little more angry. Like that's the only kind. I like those songs.
Yeah,
and like Black Keys, like bluesy, folksy. Like that's kind of countryish. Like I like those. But I think I also may have not given enough of a chance to not mainstream country.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing. Like, I love Jolene, and I like all that. Like, I think that I haven't gone beyond what they're, like, playing on the radio. But I don't know why I think it's also cool to say that you don't like country music. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like country music.
But how
and that's probably me as well.
But how is it cool to not like country? Like, how is it cool to do the thing that everybody's doing?
I don't know. I like...
I mean, I guess that is... I mean, that's, like, what smoking was. I mean,
Yeah.
actually, now smoking... Actually, no. Okay, I take it back. Smoking, I feel, is cool because you're, like, edgy to do it. I mean, I guess at some point they were like, oh, smoking's good for you. 10 out of 10 doctors say...
Smoke a joint a day.
10 out of 10 doctors say if you smoke a Parliament, you're gonna live, like, 5 years longer.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know. I honestly, like...
Parliament is the most healthy
Is it actually?
No, that's, like, what they would say. They would label a specific company brand as, like, the most healthy tobacco. Like,
that's
this
so gross.
is, you know.
That's so ridiculous. How remember when we used to smoke cigarettes?
I kind of want one today.
Okay. I don't.
Why?
But I will smoke one.
No, come on! I can't be the only one.
Polina, I'll smoke it with you.
I've really been wanting one.
I was just like,
And it's bad because I'm working out and, like, I feel good. I don't know why I want one. And then whenever I have one now, it's always better in my head.
Yeah.
Because when you were...
It's always better in your head.
Yeah. And, like, when we were actually smoking them all the time, then they tasted good. But, like, when you
haven't smoked for a while and you, like...
take a hit, it's gross.
Yeah, because but, like, and also the smell of cigarettes. Like, when someone else is smoking, and I can smell the smell, it's an amazing smell. I've loved it since I was a kid.
Yep. My dad...
I would specifically inhale, like, when I was passing people, because I'd be like...
Yes.
Oh, that cigarette smell like a fucking dumbass.
On my runs, I do that.
It's kind of... That's funny.
Yeah.
But when you actually, it just, the taste in your mouth is not ideal.
In the movies, when they show people smoking like that, like, I was rewatching Fleabag, and obviously she smokes a lot.
I need to rewatch that.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, made me feel a lot of feels.
Yeah.
And I'm sad because there's not a third season coming out.
Yeah.
But anyways.
She ended it like that, which was kind of cool, though.
And I like that she directed it and was in it. Or, like, made it up. Like, literally
The Hot Priest.
Yeah. Her and Greta Gerwig.
Are buds?
No, but they're, like, my favorite.
Oh, yeah. They would be buds.
I think I would be friends with Greta Gerwig. And Tim Dillon.
Who's that?
He's somebody I could be friends with.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, what were we talking about? Cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
In the movies, they never show the parts where, like, the main character that smokes a lot is going up the stairs and is, like, struggling. They never show that. And how, like, you wake up in the morning and you, like, really can't, like... When you breathe in fully, it kind of, like, hurts or, like, it feels weird. And, like, you're coughing up loogies all the time. You just, like... They never show that. Because
They don't. It's not cool to show that. That's, like, the uncool parts. But that's, like, the same thing with, like, drugs. Like, I think
But drugs are fun.
Not all of them. Like, I'm thinking about, like...
Not all of them.
Oh, I guess, like, so they are fun, I guess. But, like, there's a lot of darker, like, undercurrents and, like, a lot of consequences that they never talk. Like, they never show on the screen.
Do you have a timer for, like, an alarm for when you have to start getting ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, they don't show, which is why I wanted us to watch Euphoria, because I feel like that's the most accurate representation of substance abuse and depression that I've ever seen in my life. But, like, they just, like, it's the same, like,
except
in
for
movies.
in real life. But yeah.
Except for in real life, which is what I deal with every day, unfortunately. But I do like
But Euphoria is more real than even that.
No. Oh, it's just a good representation in the media, because the media doesn't do it well. The media doesn't do mental illness well, and it doesn't do substance use well, and it doesn't do cigarettes.
The media, what does it do well? Nothing. The media there's no media.
Sell things?
Huh?
Sell things?
Oh, yes, sell things. But...
Good job, media.
Media's not it anymore. People usually... I think YouTube is it now.
YouTube is definitely it now. It's so upsetting.
Why is that upsetting? I think it's better. I think that's way better than, like, somebody who you don't know at the New York Times, like, writing some bullshit, or... Which, by the way, does make me sad, because at some point the New Yorker... Like, you know, that was a reputable magazine at some point.
New York Times?
Yes.
To be honest, I don't really know that much about that kind of stuff. Like, I don't follow... I never have So, like, are they not reputable anymore?
Not really. Like, something... But don't you kind of know that? Like, if somebody's
No.
like... If somebody's like, here's, like, an article, and by the way, like, I read this at CNN, would you be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to take this article at face value, or would you do more research to see if it was true?
I would do more research in general.
But
I think propaganda sucks.
Yes, but that didn't used to be the case. Like, you would see things in something like the New York Times or whatever, and you would read it, and you'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, they're reporting the news. I don't have to, like, double check this. I mean, I can, but...
You're talking about how we can't trust, like, the media and, like, the stuff. Yeah. I also think that we're in a different universe right now where we have a lot more knowledge available to us than anyone has in the past. And a lot of different perspectives on things. So I think that, like, where we used to read something and be like, yes, like, this makes sense. Like, because they didn't have any other information about it.
No, but even just a couple years ago is what I mean.
Oh, really? I mean, yeah. I do feel like there's
worse.
definitely a distrust. I mean, it might be the political situation not helping that too much.
I don't know when that started, though. I mean, it probably was happening before Trump, but...
It might have been happening before Trump, but I do think I think that the situation with, not just Trump, but, like, that, the political situation in the last, like, 4 or 5 years has amplified that. Because there's been a lot of talk about news and media and, like, fake news, and, like, while everyone made fun of him for saying that, there's a truth to it.
But why, when everyone made fun of him for saying that then, like 8 years ago when he first said it, we were like, fake news, like, shut the fuck up, like, these people are reporting the news. And now he says it, and we're like, yeah, literally fake news, yes. Like, no matter who you are, left or right, like, you hear that statement and you're like, yeah, fake news is everywhere. And if you don't, then you're dumb. If you don't think that fake news is everywhere, then you're dumb.
Yeah. But I don't know exactly, like, how it might be... I wonder if it's us growing up where we're seeing this and trusting less. And, like,
but I've heard grown-ups talk.
Say about
grown-ups? Yeah, I've heard.
Not us.
I've heard people talk about it. Like, I've listened to, like, podcasts.
I think you're right, though. I mean, I think it's just, like, the access has changed and is getting bigger over time. Like, we used to, like, go on... Like, let's just take, like, this election. Like, this was crazy, because you would go on, like, Fox, you go on CNN,
and they would literally be reporting on what celebrities are doing. Like, oh, they're, you know, like, by the way, you know, election's coming up, but Kim Kardashian also, like, blah, 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 and, like... And
really stupid shit.
And also...
But also they would be saying different things.
They would.
Like, completely different things. Like, the same debate would happen. And if you turn on one news station, it would be talking about how this thing, and, like, how this... And if you turn on the other one, it'd be... And, like, I think that has caused a lot of distrust. The polarization of, like, the United States, I think, is causing a lot of mistrust in the media. Because you literally can, like... It just depends on which one you want to hear. Like, which opinion do you want to hear?
Yeah, exactly. They're not reporting the news. They're they're talking about their opinions.
Yeah, which sucks.
Okay, let me ask you.
Give me another one.
Okay. What best quality and your worst quality?
My best quality.
It can be physical or it can be like anything.
Okay. My best quality is that I'm compassionate. And my worst quality... My worst quality is my arrogance, I would say. It's funny, I had a memory flash into my mind of, like, when I was in high school, and I was talking to one of the drug counselors, because they made me talk to him. Not that I was even doing drugs, but they were like, she's depressed, that makes sense, put her with a drug counselor. And he was this old guy named Rick, and Rick would always tell this story about how, like, he and his friends were driving, they took one hit of weed, and then his friend stuck his head out the window and a truck came by and took his head.
No!
That's definitely a lie. That's definitely a lie. He would tell to scare children from doing drugs.
That's not counseling then. That's like...
Yes, but that was
fairy tale
he was also the counselor, and he would just run around classes saying this. He was actually a very nice man. But, like...
Are you sure that maybe it did happen? Why would he run around saying... Like, that doesn't make sense.
But, like, if his friend did that, then it has nothing to do with the hit of weed he took. He was just stupid. Like, don't put your fucking head out the window. Like, that sucks, but, like, not...
You've never put your head out the window?
No.
I have.
Not when I could see a truck. Like, he must have seen it. Like, that didn't happen. But Rick, we're talking, and he was just like, Michelle, you have so much empathy. Like, it's like you have this empathy, and it's a gift for you, but it's also your greatest weakness. And I was like, yeah, my empathy is my greatest strength, my greatest weakness. It was my greatest strength because I love the empathy, and I love the emotional intelligence, and I love helping people and caring about people. But on the flip side of that, it was my greatest weakness because it dragged me down with everybody. Like, I couldn't separate. I didn't have boundaries. I had no boundaries. Now I have boundaries, which is a little better. Which is why I think that my, like, greatest, or, like, the worst thing about myself has changed. By arrogance, I mean that, like, I tend to have, I think, not always, I guess, but, like, I think that when I'm in advice mode, which is not the best Michelle mode.
But you're just thinking of one, I mean, it isn't annoying Michelle mode, but
it's definitely annoying Michelle mode.
But annoying is not, like, the worst.
Yeah, but I think that I'm thinking about it from my point of view. That's the thing that I like least about myself, because I know that it's not nice. Like,
what do you mean by, to, like, explain to the two people that are gonna watch this,
audience.
which is gonna be in you. To explain to the audience what you mean by, like, when you give advice to people.
Okay. So, when people come to me with like an issue,
yeah,
I'm not very good at just sitting and listening and being like, that sucks, like, I'm gonna give you a hug. I'm not good at that. I think it's a lot easier, because I do it to myself, to, like, want to fix it. I want to fix everything so that it's nice and neat, and I just want to fix things. I hate feeling helpless, and so when people are telling me that they're upset, I immediately rapid fire a list of solutions. Things that they should do to not have this problem anymore, which is such bullshit.
And you would think that would be helpful, but, like, unsolicited advice isn't, like, my worst pet peeve. Noah does it nonstop.
You specifically have more, or, like, I think I've had more feedback from you about this than a lot more feedback. But
you've been the biggest bitch about this.
Well,
you personally,
like
but yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, no, but it's a problem that, like Mishka, like, Rodney, like, everyone has to, it's true, and my therapist has even, like, pointed it out to me for myself. Like, she literally was like, you're in your head. Stop rationalizing this. Can you please come back to talking about what happened? Like, you specifically were about to cry. Like,
You were about to cry, and then you were like, don't cry.
Well, it's hard for me to cry, but she would literally, one time in a session, I was telling her something that was, like, a really traumatic event in my life. And I started to tear up, and I started to really, like, I was talking about it, and then, like, I just started, like, being like, well, like, this is, like, the reason that this happened, and, like, well, considering this person's, like, history of fucking trauma, like, this makes sense why and she was like, what the fuck just happened? Like, what? She literally was like, stop.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And she was like, you just...
Go back to crying, please.
Yeah, I was like, you were feeling this emotion, and then you, like, ran away from it by intellectualizing it, and, like, by logic, by, like, putting it into, like, complete logic. Like, I don't want you to do that. Like, that's not... Because, like, that's the way I run away from my problems, and, like, that also means that when I'm with my friends and they're telling me something that's really difficult, it's really hard for me to sit there and just be like, wow, and just support them without needing to be like, blah, 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 blah.
I think advice is okay, but, like, when it's, like, the...
Well, there's a time for it, and there's a time not for it.
Yeah.
And I think the problem is that I'm not just giving advice. Like, if I was just offering my advice, but I think that the reason, like your experience with me in that situation, and everyone's experience with me in that situation, is that behind the desire to give advice to help you, I'm giving advice to, like, relieve the anxiety of feeling helpless. Like, I want to fix it so that I don't feel helpless. And I think that pressure, like, I'm doing something because I'm anxious about it, that pressure is why, like, I'm not just sitting here being like, well, maybe, like, you can do this. No, I'm sitting there being like, well,
here's the plan.
Here's the plan.
So here's what we're going to do.
This, and then you need to do this, and then you're going to take this step, and you're going to say this, but, like, that's not cool, because then I'm not a friend. Like, when I'm with the patients, fine. like, and by the way, I have had to learn how to sit with them and just be like, that sucks. I'm sorry.
You do seem like much better.
I'm so much better at that right now.
Yeah.
This job is teaching me.
No, you just seem like really good right now.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm definitely like, it's interesting.
Even when you were sad a bit ago, you seemed like a
better,
normal, like a good.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good kind of sad. Like
yeah. No, I agree with you because like I think that here's like the progression of my depression.
Here's the story of my life. Oh no, what was that meme? It's like my life in Wikipedia. It's like born, depression,
birth, depression, like all 20 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like when I first got depressed, it was like severe, intense. Like I wanted to kill myself, was self-harming, cutting myself, getting myself in stupid situations, abusive relationships, drugs. Like I was like on the verge of life and death. Like it was always so intense and so dramatic, and I wanted to die. And I thought that was depression. But that's a different kind of, like that.
Yeah.
That was so intense, and there was a lot of other things going into that. Now I realize, right? Before I was like, well, this is. So then it's interesting because like and then I got better, and there was a period of time when we were in BU and I was kind of like more fine, like, and I was doing good. And then I remember like, but the moments where I would have, quote unquote, the symptoms of depression, like the sleeping, the fatigue, the like not wanting to get out of bed, the like self-esteem, all of those issues were still there. But in my head, I was like, this isn't depression. I know what depression is. I don't want to die, so I'm fine. That's such a low standard. Do you see what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That's such a low standard for saying, okay, if I don't have suicidality, I'm fine. I'm like, fine. That's a lie. And I think now, like, I'm still struggling, and I'm like dealing with my depression, but I'm dealing with my mental health in a way right now that is very like, I know this is going to be here forever, and I'm doing good. And I'm also like fighting this stuff, but I'm also doing good. And I feel like that acceptance has done a lot for me recently. Because I feel like what was getting me through college was like this, like, I'm going to do this so I can get revenge for like all the things that were done wrong to me in the mental health system. And then now I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm just living my life and doing whatever I fucking want right now. And
we're
like,
just living
that's
our
fine.
lives.
Yeah, I'm just doing things. I'm just going to work.
But also
like,
it's like
patients.
the wild, wild west. Just doing your own thing is like
it is
crazy.
The wild, wild
I keep
west.
thinking to myself, like, there's this, I forget what movie it was or where I even heard it for the first time, but I keep thinking of this like quote, like, whatever you think your life is going to be like, it's not going to be like that.
That's funny. I would agree with that.
But that's so weird because then how are you supposed to, because you have this like image of like, okay, this is how things are going, and like you can just logically say, like I can logically say, okay, like this is how things are going, like I'm dating somebody right now, I have like a plan, like I'm in school, I have 4 more years left, and then I'm probably gonna specialize and blah blah blah, like there's like some sort of, there are definite things I know about my future, and I can then predict like based on my status right now, like socially, wherever I am, like this is how it's gonna progress. But in reality, like
I feel like that's a lie. Yeah. That doesn't exist. Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
And you just have to kind of roll with it. Like you literally have to roll with the punches, and sometimes you can't, and a lot of people can't. And sometimes it's external factors that are why you can't, like money and blah, whatever. And sometimes it's internal factors as to why you can't. Like people get stuck. That's why like there's people like the patients I have that are like 60 have never experienced depression in their lives. Like something happened and
that's terrible.
They just now they're stuck. But no, they're gonna get better. Well, hopefully. I've had to also come to the realization, I think something that's helped me. One of the nurses literally turned to me because we were talking about our experience with mental health, how we wanted to help people, and I was like, these people, like I just want to help them, I want to help, but I can't do anything for them. They have to do it themselves. And the nurse turned to me and was like, you have to remember that not everyone can do what you did. Not everyone can get better.
That's dark.
It's dark, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like, not all people who experience mental illness or physical illness are going to recover from those illnesses. Not everyone.
But you said no one recovers.
No, when did I say that?
You said we always have it.
Right. we have to deal with it and live with this illness, but we can be in wellness. Like, we can live in wellness and be happy. Like, I think I'm living in wellness right now. Like, I'm doing good. And, like, but I still have, I have to do that I have to maintain my wellness every day.
Right, but not everyone can get there.
But not everyone can get there. That was a really hard thing for me to hear. But it's also really helped me with my job, because I was like not taking breaks for weeks. I was not taking breaks, any break, because like I would show up and I would just do everything the patients asked. I would talk to them even though they weren't assigned to me. I was like having and I was burning out. Like, I was absorbing. I was just giving so much of myself. There was nothing left.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they can get better. I work, if I help them here. But then I had to be like, oh, I do what I can, but I have to maintain myself. And also, like, some of these people, like, no matter how many times I talk to them, they can't get better until they're ready to get better. It's a hard thing to say about depression, because I feel like people are like, well, I am ready. But sometimes they can think they're ready, but not actually be in the place to be ready, which really sucks.
What does being ready mean?
I don't know. It's being ready to work
to change.
On it. Yeah. Being ready to change. And that's like, and people say, well, I don't want to be depressed anymore. Doesn't that mean I'm ready?
But I think it's a lot easier different. To sit in your depression than like to go ahead and actually put the work in.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and they're not ready. They say, I don't want to feel like this anymore. But they don't want to. They're not ready or in the place to put in the amount of intense, insane effort that it takes to pull yourself out of depression, like you did and like I did. Like, you were depressed for a while before I think like you finally got better.
I think I was depressed when I was a kid.
Yes.
For a long time. I didn't know what that was.
Yes, but then you figured out what it was. But even when you were feeling really depressed, like, you were depressed for like months. Right? Like really, like, knowing that you were depressed, saying, I am depressed, like, for months. And you would always say, I don't want to feel like this anymore.
I think it was a full year. That first year when I moved to Amherst.
That was a hard one for you.
That was a bad one. 2017. Yeah.
But, like, like, that was, like, you were like, I am depressed. I don't want to be depressed. I don't feel this way anymore.
I started meditating that year. That was the one good thing that came out of that year.
That was
I meditated and I felt like I was high after, like, meditating.
Really?
Because I did it so often every day.
Wow.
At some point, I just felt like I was high.
But that's pretty cool.
It was. I've never gotten back to that. I also wrote some really good things at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I also have never gotten back to that.
I don't think that's true.
I
really liked the thing you wrote recently.
The scary one.
The God one. That was really good. But yeah, I just think that, like, you make a different choice. Like, one of the patients was also being like, she was talking to me about she wanted to hurt herself. She, like, struggled with self-harm. And she was like, I just want to do it. Like, it helps me. It's the right. And I was like, okay. And she was like, how am I ever going to get better? And I was like, here's what's going to happen. Like, when do you self-harm? She was like, well, when I feel really sad, I self-harm. I said, okay. When you're ready to feel really sad and choose another thing, it's a choice. You choose something else. And that be knowing that, like, self-harming and substance abuse, it's an addictive behavior. Like, it's hard to stop. But, like, you have to literally be like, fuck, I'm going to choose something else.
Yeah.
And then you do it, and then you practice that every day of your life. And that's hard.
Like quitting cigarettes, it's hard.
Like quitting cigarettes.
And you still want it.
You still want it.
Like, almost every day.
But then you choose something else. Like, it's
Except for today, we're going to.
Except for today. Sometimes it's okay, but not with self-harming. But, like, you, like, constantly, like,
but even if you go back and you do, like, a self-harm and then you're like, wait, like, I just, like, because people do, like, go back to it.
Yeah, relapse is normal.
I've done that before when I was, like, I mean, sometimes I still, like, get so sad and I'm, like, and I think about that and then I think about, like, wait, I did that when I was in middle school. No. And, like, I just... Relapse is a really real thing that people don't want to talk about. But relapse is a part of recovery. And the average times of relapse is, like, 7 or something. Which is, I think, a pretty low number. I think it's pretty higher than that. But, like... Wow. But it helps you because you'll go back to it, like, I'll smoke a cigarette and I'll be like, well, that was gross. Like, sometimes you need a reminder because you romanticize it and you think it's going to be so great and it's going to be so helpful and then it's all the consequences come. And then it's not that good. Yeah. Give me another one. Okay, going off of that, what's the best advice you've ever gotten? I'll tell you mine. I just told her the name of the person who told me this. She told me one time that your friends are not the people who help you when you're sad. Your friends are the people your true friends are the people who are happy for you when you're happy. That's my favorite advice. And I think about
that's pretty interesting. Interesting. I, on one hand, I don't know about that.
You had a different thing where when you were in a really bad place, you had no one. And that hurts. But I think it's a lot easier to sympathize with someone than to not be jealous and hate them for their success.
So, no, I agree with that part. I just think, like, I feel like friends should help you when you're sad. But I do agree that the true friends you have, like when something good happens for you, they're like, oh, like, that's so amazing. I'm so happy for my friend. I think that's valid. That's an interesting piece of advice from that particular human being. I don't know. I'm trying to think of advice that people have given me. And I'm having a really hard time doing it.
Well, like, what's something that, like, you like, remember a lot? Like, I always have, like, quotes going on through my head. Like,
I have a lot of images going on through my head.
That's
I think you and I have different... You're more, like...
a words person.
Yeah. What is it? How do I even say it? I don't even know. But, like, you know what I'm talking about. And I have more of, like, an image situation. I'm trying to think.
Well, what's the image then? Like, what do you think about? Like, what is something that, like, a theme?
I have an image in my head when you ask me that question. It's not in a piece of advice, though. So, when I was 15 in the hospital, and this was a really rough one. This is, like, the moment after, like, I basically, like, hurt myself to the point where the ambulance had to come get me, ended up in the ER, and I was like, cover me, like, I don't want my parents to see it. My parents were called to the ER. My mom shows up and is like, you're ashamed to your family, you're ashamed to me, how could you do this to us? And left me in the ER alone after I, like, basically freaked out, panic attacked, and, like, hurt myself. And so I was, like, in a really not great spot. They sent me to the hospital. I was in the hospital, and I just, like, was not great. I just couldn't handle it. And there was this one staff there, which is funny because he's the job that I have now. So to think that, like, I could be that kind of person for another patient is very interesting. But, like, he like, his name was Simon. I definitely had a crush on him, but I was, like, 15. But other than that, like, he was just really great. He actually loved books and, like, literature, and he was, like, an English major, and he always ran, like, poetry groups and, like, stuff like that.
You think you've told me this before?
Yeah, he gave me 2 books. He gave me one that was, like, an Ernest Hemingway book, but he one time came in and just gave me a book called The Tao of Pooh, like Winnie the Pooh. Have you ever read it?
Wait, the what of the town of Pooh?
No, the Tao, like Tao.
What does that mean?
So Taoism is like a philosophy. It's not a religion. Is it a religion?
I think it's
spirituality. Something.
It's a
thing. It's a thing. It's a theme. And, like, it's explaining Taoism through Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
And it was and Taoism's all about, like, just, like, being simple and just letting things be. Like, things happen, you're like,
oh, that is probably a philosophy.
It's a
philosophical concept, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, he gave me a book, and I read the book in the hospital. I remember I have distinct, like, image of me in the...
But you don't remember, like, a quote from the book?
No,
like
I don't remember a quote, but that book, like, really helped me a lot. It grounded me a lot.
Do you think you would want to reread it?
Yeah. I just haven't, like, gotten to that point right now. But, like...
That you could?
No, like, that I just, like, I've been reading other things, and reading has been difficult for me anyway for the past couple of years. But, like, it's definitely something I'll revisit at some point in my life. But that image in my head is very...
You think about that a lot?
I just, like...
when does it come up?
I don't know. It's... I guess frequently, but it's just a flash, so it doesn't... But, like, when you ask me what advice has helped you, that's the thing that comes in. Another thing that came to me, actually, was my therapist telling me to stay in my feelings and, like, stay in my body. That was a very, very important one. And I guess this isn't advice, but recently... So this is what happened, right? So, you know, I've always had this issue where I say, like... One of my biggest core problematic beliefs is that I'm unlovable.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've said that to you multiple times, that I feel like I'm just fundamentally unlovable. That's just not possible. And I have to, like, you know, work on that, obviously. But, like, I remember recently, actually literally 2 days ago, I was supposed to talk to a patient. This patient sat down in front of me with a notepad, puts in front of me and goes, here's a list of all of the reasons why I am a horrible person, why I would die alone and nothing I want will ever happen. And on his list was, I am worthless, I am unlovable, I am fat and ugly, I am like this, just, I have a bad personality, I'm annoying, I'm really weird, I'm a burden on people, like, da-da-da, I am, and he looked at me, he was like, I'm unlovable for all of these things, you can't tell me that these things will make me unlovable. And I was sitting in front of him. This is literally 2 days ago. I was sitting in front of him. I remember I laughed first. I laughed. I put my head in my hands and I laughed. And I sat back up and I was just like... And then I had to tell him, because the first thing that came through my head, I was like, what? No. Like, that's... No one is unlovable. Like, this is a lie. And, like, I told him that. And, like, I said all these things. Whoa. Wow. Wow, that terrified me.
Wait, just finish the story.
Yes, I will. Like, I had to... Oh, God. Like, I was telling him this, and it really forced me to look at that core belief. Do you know what I mean? Like, I was hearing him say that to me, and from the outside for the first time,
What was the advice you gave him? What did you say to him?
I told him that was a lie. I told him that no one is unlovable, and that...
Some people are.
I don't think so.
Some people are all alone.
That doesn't mean they're unlovable. That doesn't mean that they can never be loved, or that something is so wrong with them that people shouldn't love them.
Hitler?
It's kind of an extreme example, but
Stalin?
technically, Polina, I don't believe any human being is unlovable. Should they be loved? Whatever. But, like, is it, like, humanly impossible for another person? Like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that somebody is truly unlovable, which is funny because my whole life I've been like, I'm unlovable, I'm the only human being who's unlovable, like a fucking idiot. But I told him that, and then we basically went through his little stupid list, and I was like, how are we going to challenge this? This is a distortion. This is irrational thinking. How are you going to challenge it? He was like, well, how do I challenge I'm fat and ugly? He was overweight, like, it's true, but, like... And I remember being, like, fat and ugly by whose standards? He was like, society's. I was like, fuck society.
Okay, but being fat, like, it's not healthy. You should, like, not be fat.
Fine, does it mean that you're not lovable? No. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I was trying to poke at him for. Like, and, like, he was like, well, I'm a man-child. And I was like, why do you think you're a man-child? And he was like, well, I... like, don't know how to do my taxes, and I've been in school my whole life. My mom is taking care of me for everything. And I was like, okay, so why don't you learn how to do your taxes? This is a thing you can change if you really don't like it about yourself.
That's when your solutions really come in handy, because he, like, doesn't, like, you're not
But I'm not his friend.
Yeah,
I'm, like, in a therapeutic, like, thing with him. But, like, and I remember we went down the list, and I was like, this is what you're gonna do for me. You're gonna take this list. First of all, fuck this list. Second of all, take this list, and I want you to draw a line down the middle, and I want you on each side to try to challenge each of these thoughts that you've written down here.
That's a good one.
And then he was like, and all of these things are the reason I'm gonna die alone. And I was like, so you have to, like, just because this is where you are now, or this is where you believe you are now, why does that, like, impact your whole future? You can change. If you want to, you're still lovable the way you are. But you can change. You want to not be a man-child anymore? Change it. You want to...
Not be fat anymore, go to the gym.
Yeah, and I was like, you want to not be codependent? Like, he was like, I'm extremely codependent. And I was like, so am I, dude. Like, what the fuck? Does that mean I'm unlovable? Like, fuck you. But I was like, okay, so if you want to do that, then work on it. Work on it in therapy. What do you... Like, you have to... Just because you're here at this point in time doesn't mean that you'll be there for the rest of your life. You have to accept that you can change, but you have to push yourself. And he's one of the hard ones that I keep having to be like, do it, come on. And, like...
Sounds like he's almost there.
Not really. He keeps going back. But, like, he's gonna get there.
Yeah.
He has to internalize it. But I told him to challenge all those thoughts. And, like, he and I did this, he has this thing where he has, like, he's afraid he's gonna die, basically. And he, like, won't do things because he thinks he's gonna die. And, like, one of the things he said the other day, he's like, I want to travel in my future. He's like, how can I do that if I can't even walk? Like, because he won't walk right now because he thinks it's going to kill him, which is not.
What?
Yeah, he's a very severe case. But, like, he won't walk because he thinks it's going to kill him. He was bedridden for 6 months, didn't drink, didn't eat anything like that, right? Like, he would not walk, right? And he believes that if he walks, it will raise his risk of dying. He'll die. Now, that being said, anything can raise our risk. Like, we can all die. Like, he just has to accept that, but he's not there yet. But, like, he was like, I want to travel in my future, and, like, how can I do that if I can't even walk? And I looked at him and I was like, you can walk. And he was like, well, like, I won't be, like, what if I'm not safe? And I'm like, but you can. You can walk even though you're not safe. It's a choice. You're going to have to choose to walk even though you're not safe. And once you start choosing to do things, even though you won't have 100% certainty about them, then your life will start, like, going again. Because you have to just accept the fact that you're going to die. And that none of us are safe, and that I can die any moment. You can die any moment. And you have to accept it. You can't keep hiding from that. Like, he hides from that fact by avoiding all these things. That's like OCD. Like, they avoid by hiding from, like, this scary thing. But yeah, sitting in front of him, with him telling me he was unlovable, and me having to respond to that, really popped the balloon of that thought for me. Like, I definitely still struggle with self-esteem issues, but that moment really affected, like, the way that, because, like, even when my therapist would be like, blah, 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 like,
you don't believe it, yeah, when
like,
people tell you.
I didn't believe it before, but I think now I'm starting to kind of be like, okay, Michelle.
Yeah.
It's time. And, like, I don't believe it anymore. Like, I don't believe that I'm unlovable right now, which is pretty impressive as something I believed for my whole life. And it was because this kid sat in front of me and was like, I'm unlovable. And I was like, fuck. It's like, shit, how do I even respond to that? And then I have to figure it out. I don't even know if I did it right, but I did something. I said something.
We should probably get ready.
Yes, we should.
Should we do this when we're drunk? Like, the last couple, like, random questions?
Yeah, let's do the last couple random questions later.
When we're drunk.
We'll be back. Drunk and dressed up.
This makes you stressed out? Even when I just, like, put it on without you knowing, like, I don't go into the way, just, like, put it on.
Not as much, but I'm just like, I'm also behind. I like these lamps.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
pay attention to the lamps.
Dude, I think my tincture is hitting right now.
What tincture?
The one that I took, like, a million hours ago. Michelle.
Yes, Helena.
What's your favorite quality in other people?
Wow. My favorite quality in other people. Interesting. I think, honestly, it would have to be like being caring and loyal. Like, I guess, like, I think I'm pretty, like, compassionate, but I've had issues where, like, I've definitely given more in a relationship than other people, and I feel like the best friends that I have now, including you, but like I love, because I feel that, like, reciprocated. Like, I know that they love me no matter what, and I feel like my favorite quality in other people is, like, just the same kind of thing, like being loyal.
Your favorite
And
quality in
compassionate.
other people is that they love you.
Exactly.
Okay.
But, like, that they have, like, the capacity to do that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Um,
What about you, Felina?
my favorite quality in other people?
Yeah.
My favorite quality in other people. A sense of humor.
Nice. I feel like that makes sense for you, which is funny because I don't think I'm funny.
No, having a sense of humor doesn't mean that you're funny. It just means that you know what's a joke and what's serious.
That's true.
And I think it also, I don't like when people are too dramatic.
Yes.
Why are you putting your face mask
You
on?
have one on.
Yeah, but I'm only having one on for warmth.
Okay.
For
Now I have
warmth.
one on too.
Because it's a little bit stupid to wear a face mask outside when you're alone. Like, we're just walking the streets, no one's out here, it's just us. So, like, why would we have face masks on? For warmth?
What's your least favorite quality or favorite quality? Wait, what's your biggest pet peeve in other people? I have a good one for that.
My biggest pet peeve in other people is unsolicited advice.
That's me. Okay.
And someone else I know too.
Ha ha ha. My biggest pet peeve is when people have like a big ego and like can't handle any like bullshit. Like that other staff member that I had who like just because I was like I disagree with your opinion, she literally was like freaked out. Like it drives me crazy. Like come on, have an open discussion. Stop getting so sensitive and offended about like if people disagree with you. Like just it's annoying. It's annoying.
Okay.
What's your next question?
What's your favorite color?
Purple. It used to be black for a very long time. Now it's purple. I love purple. It's beautiful. I love all shades of purple. I especially love periwinkle and lavender.
I love periwinkle.
Yes. And I love that like
God.
oh, you okay?
Yep.
I love that dusty like you know like the really dusty lavender like the sky turns when
I
it's kind
love-
of like late at night.
I love any dusty colors.
Yeah,
dusty
like gray
pink,
mixed
dusty-
mixed with purple.
Yes.
It's very nice. was
Why don't people read anymore?
Oh.
I guess because we're too busy on our phones. That's a stupid question. If you were the opposite gender for a day, what would you do?
I don't even know how I would answer that question, Kalina.
Okay, first you would masturbate because everybody
I'd probably
would.
go have sex with a woman just to feel what it was like.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to feel what it's like to like have a dick. You know?
Yeah,
Like, if that was the
feel-
opposite sex.
To
If I
feel.
had the opposite genitalia, or not opposite rather, because again there's a spectrum.
What do you
so
wait?
there's
Excuse
intersex
me.
people,
There's opposite. There's not. Okay.
there's
There's a.
intersex people.
Okay, Michelle. There's in betweens between a penis and vagina. I don't think there's only a penis and a vagina.
There are
There's
in-betweens.
okay. What's the in between of a penis and
Intersex
a
people. Have you ever seen like intersex? Like,
Michelle? That's like
genitalia?
1 in a million people.
No, it's not.
Intersex
Actually, a
people.
lot
Oh my
less.
God, Michelle.
Okay. Anyway,
So
if I had a
there's
penis,
3 options
If I had a
here.
penis,
Okay.
I would probably like just go have sex with one.
Just feel-
I just want to feel what's like to have a
Just
vagina
feel,
on me, you know what I mean?
feel that extra weight on my body and like feel my brain getting
I feel like
bigger.
it'd be so annoying between your legs. Though.
Yeah, but then Michelle, you're smarter because you're a man. Have you ever thought about that? I would.
I would never want to be a man. in
Yeah,
my
you're
life.
smarter and you're a better driver.
Paulina, fuck that.
I would want to get into a fight. I mean, I kind of want to get into a fight now, but I feel like what girl is really down? I just want to get like.
There's definitely some girls that are down to get into a fight.
I guess I would get into a fight.
I'm not down to get into a fight. I'm a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, I don't want to fight you.
I mean, I would definitely not win, but you know what I mean.
Let me think.
What's another question?
Just one, Michelle Welly.
Okay.
What's your biggest fear?
Okay. My biggest fear is honestly probably Alzheimer's. Any sort of dementia, loss of my mental faculties.
A lot of Russian women tell me that's their biggest fear.
It's really scary.
A lot of Russian women
I used
say
to
that.
volunteer at an Alzheimer's unit and it was really terrifying. I feel like it's not a person anymore. I wouldn't be me without my brain or like without my mental abilities, and like that really scares me. I think another one of my greatest fears is like being all alone.
Do you have a premonition of how you think you're gonna die?
Nope.
I think I
I've
mean,
never been able to. I've had other people tell me that they've been able to like think about that. Like Mishka was always like, I'm gonna die young, and that really stressed me
oh
out.
my lord.
Someone
else we know also used to always say that.
I literally like I have actually no idea. I would hope that it's when I'm like old
I don't know why dying young seems so
But
like.
I want it to be with like all my mental faculties there. Like I want to be present.
You know how you do that, Michelle?
How?
You work out.
To
You
have all
keep
my
your body in check so that your mind is in check.
craziness.
Michelle,
Paulina.
one last question
Okay.
that I just
Hey,
forgot.
what's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear?
Yeah.
Not finding love,
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
That's a big one. I would say that's one of mine as well.
And just having, I guess, regrets when I die.
I think
But that's
everyone has
everybody's-
regrets when they die.
Everybody's biggest fear is that.
Let's just say
Wait,
that
where are we going?
this way.
Okay.
Let's just say that like regrets, but not anything like too wild.
Yeah.
I just saw a rat. Oh! It's okay. It's just a
Where?
rat. It was over there.
Ew.
It's okay. He just wants to eat his cheese.
I had another question for you, but now
Okay.
I forgot it.
No, remember it.
Oh right, I already asked you a premonition of how you think you're gonna die.
Yes.
No,
What's your premonition of how you think you're gonna die?
I always think it's gonna be in the car.
Helena, that's really scary. Considering I'm in the car with you a lot.
Yeah, but I guess not really anymore. I just hope I never die, really, pretty much.
The only thing that I like feel like I've ever had like a not a premonition, but like a weird feeling about is like ever since I was a kid. Like I was like 5 years old and I was out somewhere with my parents and I like we were in some Caribbean country. We were at like one of those markets and I for some reason like I saw a mortar and pestle, like you know what I'm talking about?
Well,
So it was like it's like a cup and like a thing and you like that's how you like grind things like a mortar and
Yes.
pestle.
oh, you've told me this.
Yeah, I saw one and apparently like I needed it
Yep.
and like instantly felt a connection with it. And I used to grind up all my food in it. It was disgusting, but I did.
That was gross.
I did that. Let's cross the street.
So you feel like in a past life you were doing that shit?
I feel like I have such a weird connection with those things. Like something about it feels right, and something about like having like a wooden bowl and like wooden
Tell me where to
silverware
go, you bitch.
this way.
You have to
like,
lead me.
Wooden bowl, wooden silverware, like having like pouring water out of a wooden bowl or a wooden cup for some
Michelle?
reason.
I think that's just because you're a hippie.
No, Paulina, I think I was a medicine lady in a past life. That would be so cool.
Is that what
I would totally have been a medicine lady in a past life, Paulina.
you believe in past lives?
I believe that energy cannot be created nor destroyed. Therefore,
Agree.
if soul is energy. It can't be created nor destroyed. Reincarnation must be real. But I have no clarity. There's no sureness of that. That's just like what I think makes the most sense. You know?
I know.
I also don't believe in hell. I feel like if hell did exist, it'd be pretty fun. You know what I mean? I feel like
Heaven
By-
would be boring.
because like by the rules of like religion, you know, like all like the people I hang out with like would go to hell.
But Michelle,
I would go to hell.
Judaism doesn't have hell.
That's true, but I'm not a Jew.
We're very bad Jews.
You know what though? I hate the term bad Jew. Like fuck that. Like why?
Do you eat
You
pork,
know what
Michelle?
Yes.
Me too.
But you know what I worship, Helena?
What, Michelle?
This is the laws, like this is the religion I follow, is compassion and kindness and caring for other people and like helping other people. Like that's what I think matters in this universe. And I think like a lot of religions spout that, but they don't actually follow it. They contort and pervert their faith to excuse the horrible things that they do. It really pisses me off. Shit. That really pisses me off. Is this the end of this podcast?
That's it, folks. That's all, folks.
That's all, folks, for the Michelle podcast.
Nope. It's the Awkward Ordinary podcast. Episode 2.
The Awkward Ordinary podcast.
Everything's
episode
about her.
2.
Oh my god.
Bye. Peace of my world.
Yeah.